So we saw how easy it is to create groups, and we also saw that some things work together, like my faders, when I have my drum group on, and some things don't, like solo. These didn't all solo. So let's learn how to change that and also how to modify our groups. The easiest way to modify a group is to right-click in the groups list and choose Modify. So I can change what tracks are in my group. I can do that at any time. But what I want to focus on is what is controlled by my group. Now you'll notice this check mark here, Follow Globals. I have global settings for my groups, and this particular group, the drum group, is following my global settings. As long as that's checked, it means that this will follow global, or the settings for all my groups. So let's take a look at the global settings. Well, we can see here that volume is set to be controlled and mute is set to be controlled. That's why when I muted the group, everything muted. But panning is not. So let me check panning. Notice I can control inserts and sends. And then what else can I control? Solos is unchecked. So let's check that. All right, I'm just going to select OK. And now when I solo, they all solo. And panning, all the pans change. They change relative to where they were, as you can see. Now, what if I wanted the other groups to behave differently? So right now, for example, my percussion group, if I click S, they all solo. Because if I right-click my percussion group, you can see that it's also following globals. But what if I didn't want the percussion group to have the same behavior as all my other groups? Well, then I just uncheck Follow Globals. And instead of going to the global page, I'll go to the attribute page. And maybe for percussion, I don't want it to follow solos. So my drum group follows solos, my percussion group does not. I'll turn back on Follow Globals for my percussion group, and this dims, meaning it's not active anymore. Now, you may have certain groups, pardon the expression, of things that you want to control by your groups, and you may use them frequently. And Pro Tools makes it easy for you to bring up presets of these checkboxes. So let's say I have a group setting where I want to follow solos, and I want to follow panning. I'm going to save this in location 1. And then let's say I have another one where I don't want to follow solos and I don't want to follow panning. I'm going to save that in location 2. And now, if I pull up a group, let's say my acoustic guitars, and I right-click on that group, and I don't want it to follow the globals. I want it to work without the solo and without the panning. So I'll choose 2, no solo, no panning. 1, solo, and panning. And of course, if I wanted to default to the globals, I can go to the globals page and the same thing. 2, 1. I can have up to 6 different sets of what's checked and what's not checked. One last thing about groups. You can easily override the group temporarily by holding down the control key. So if I just drag a fader in my drums, they're all going to move. If I just want to raise my hi-hat, hold down control and raise my hi-hat. Solo, they're all soloed. If I only want to solo my hi-hat, control solo, and now only that will be soloed. And that's how easy it is to modify your groups in Pro Tools.